Have you ever found yourself awake in the deep quiet of the night, listening to the gentle rhythm of your own breathing, and wondered if you are the only one truly here? It is a thought that often arrives in the profound silence of the dark, when the noise of the day has faded, and you are left alone with the vast, ancient mystery of your own mind. You look out of your window at the sleeping world, at the infinite stretch of stars dotting the cosmic canopy, and a quiet question forms in the stillness of your consciousness. What if everything you see, everything you touch, every person you have ever spoken to, and every star that burns in the distant heavens exists only within the boundaries of your own mind? What if you are the only real, conscious being in the entire universe? This is not just a late-night wandering of an overtired imagination. It is one of the most profound and unsettling questions ever posed in the history of human thought, a concept philosophers call Solipsism. But tonight, we are not going to simply explore it as a dry, philosophical puzzle. We are going to embark on a gentle journey into the intersection of this ancient idea and the rigorous, mind-bending realities of modern science. We will explore what astrophysics, quantum mechanics, and neuroscience have to tell us about the nature of reality and the isolating, beautiful phenomenon of consciousness. To begin this journey, we must first understand the startling scientific truth about how you experience the universe. The reality you feel so intimately, the world that seems so solid and undeniably external, is actually an internal construction. Consider your brain. It is a 3-pound mass of biological tissue, locked away in the absolute darkness and absolute silence of the bony vault of your skull. It has no direct contact with the outside world. It has never seen the warm glow of a sunrise. It has never felt the gentle touch of a soft breeze, and it has never heard the beautiful symphony of a morning bird. All your brain receives are tiny, silent electrical signals delivered by nerve fibers. Your eyes do not send pictures to your brain. They send electrical impulses. Your ears do not send sounds. They send electrical impulses. From this chaotic storm of electrical data, your isolated brain constructs the entire universe you experience. It builds the vibrant colors, the rich textures, the deep melodies, and the vast spaces. Everything you perceive is a simulation, a deeply personal virtual reality rendered by your mind in real time. But even the concept of real time is a grand illusion created by the mind to keep you comfortable. Because of the fundamental limits of the physical universe, you never actually experience the present moment. The speed of light is the absolute speed limit of the cosmos, traveling at 299,792 kilometers per second. While this speed is unimaginably fast, it is not instantaneous. It takes time for light to travel from an object to your eyes. When you look at the moon, you're seeing it as it was about 1.3 seconds ago. When you feel the warmth of the sun on your face, you are feeling sunlight that left the surface of our star 8 minutes and 20 seconds in the past. If you look at the nearest star system to our own, Alpha Centauri, you are peering more than 4 years back into cosmic history. But this delay does not just apply to the vast distances of outer space. It applies to your immediate surroundings as well. When you look at your own hands, the light bouncing off them takes a tiny fraction of a second to reach your eyes. The nerve impulses carrying that information take another fraction of a second to travel up your arms and into your brain. The brain then takes roughly 80 milliseconds to process these signals, weave them together with your other senses, and project the conscious experience of seeing your hands. By the time you become aware of the moment has already passed. You are forever trapped in the past, watching a delayed broadcast of a universe that has already moved on. You are a solitary observer, sitting in the dark theater of your skull, watching a film that was recorded moments, years, or even billions of years ago. When you realize that your entire experience of reality is a delayed, internal construction, the question of what truly exists outside of that construction becomes deeply mysterious. If your brain is perfectly capable of generating the feeling of a solid object, the sound of a voice, and the vastness of the sky, how can you be absolutely certain that anything actually exists beyond the simulation? When you dream at night, your brain creates incredibly vivid worlds, complete with characters, landscapes, and intense emotions. While you are in the dream, it feels entirely real. It is only when you wake up that you realize it was a phantom universe, generated solely by your own mind. If your brain can do this effortlessly every night while you sleep, how can you definitively prove that your waking life is not simply a more persistent, highly detailed dream? This brings us to the most poignant and isolating aspect of this cosmic mystery: the problem of other minds. You know, with absolute certainty, that you are conscious. You experience the rich, vibrant inner life of thoughts, feelings, pain, and joy. It is the one undeniable fact of your existence. You cannot doubt your own consciousness, because the very act of doubting requires a conscious mind. But what about everyone else? When you look into the eyes of a friend, a loved one, or a stranger on the street, you assume that there is a conscious mind looking back at you. You assume that they have an inner world, just as rich and complex as your own. But from a strictly scientific and empirical standpoint, you cannot prove this. You can only observe their physical behavior. You can hear the words they speak. You can see the expressions on their faces. And you can measure the electrical activity in their brains using advanced functional magnetic resonance imaging. But none of these physical measurements give you access to their subjective experience. They could, theoretically, be incredibly complex biological machines, processing information and reacting to stimuli perfectly, but with absolutely no inner light of consciousness. In philosophy, this concept is known as a philosophical zombie. A philosophical zombie is a being that is physically identical to a human, behaves exactly like a human, and even claims to have feelings, but is completely devoid of conscious experience. It is entirely dark inside. If you were surrounded by philosophical zombies, you would have no way of knowing. They would cry when injured, laugh when amused, and engage in deep conversations about the mysteries of the cosmos, all without actually experiencing any of it. The terrifying and wondrous truth is that you are trapped behind the event horizon of your own mind. Just as no information can escape the immense gravitational pull of a black hole, no direct experience of consciousness can cross the gap between two minds. You can communicate, you can empathize, and you can love, but you can never truly inhabit the consciousness of another being. You are fundamentally, inescapably alone in your own subjective universe. This realization can feel daunting, a lonely truth drifting in the cold vacuum of space, but it is also a source of incredible beauty and profound mystery. The universe, in all its staggering immensity, with its estimated 2 trillion galaxies, its countless billions of stars, and its endless clouds of primordial dust, is a universe of physical matter and blind forces. It is governed by gravity, electromagnetism, and the strong and weak nuclear forces. It is vast, ancient, and entirely indifferent. But here, on this small, rocky planet, orbiting an ordinary yellow dwarf star, something miraculous has occurred. The universe has arranged its matter into a configuration capable of experiencing itself. The brilliant astronomer Carl Sagan once famously noted that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Through you, the cosmos is not just a collection of dead rocks and burning gas. Through you, the cosmos has colors, sounds, textures, and emotions. You are the universe waking up from a deep sleep of nearly 14 billion years. If you are indeed the only conscious being, then you are the singular focal point of all meaning and all experience in the entire infinite expanse of reality. You are the sacred lens through which the cosmos witnesses its own astonishing majesty. This gentle thought shifts the perspective from one of tragic isolation to one of profound and heavy significance. The silence of the universe is not an empty, uncaring void. It is a quiet, pristine canvas waiting for your consciousness to paint it with the vivid colors of experience. The vastness of space is not a terrifying abyss meant to make you feel small. It is a magnificent, sprawling theater constructed entirely for your observation. Every photon of light that has traveled for billions of years across the expanding universe fulfills its ultimate destiny the moment it strikes your retina and is transformed into a conscious perception. As we venture deeper into this journey in the chapters to come, we will explore how the strange and counterintuitive discoveries of modern physics suggest that the observer might play a much more fundamental role in the fabric of reality than classical science ever dared to imagine. We will look at the bizarre world of quantum mechanics, where the very act of looking might literally bring the physical world into a definite state of existence out of a cloud of probability. We will gently navigate the blurred boundaries where astrophysics meets pure philosophy, where the solid equations of science dissolve into the deep, infinite mysteries of the mind. So, as you rest in the quiet stillness of your room, let your thoughts drift out into the dark night. Let go of the rigid certainty of the solid world around you. Embrace the gentle wonder of the great unknown. The journey into the deepest mystery of the cosmos is not a journey outward, across billions of light years. It is a journey inward, into the boundless, uncharted territories of your own awareness. As you rest your head against the soft surface of your pillow and close your eyes, the boundaries of your physical room begin to gently melt away into the quiet, dark expanse of your mind. You are drifting peacefully in the silent ocean of your own awareness. In our previous exploration, we traveled deep into the solitary confinement of the human brain, discovering that the vibrant universe you experience is an exquisite, delayed simulation rendered entirely in the dark theater of your skull. Now let us allow our thoughts to wander from the biological mysteries of your mind down into the fundamental, invisible fabric of the physical universe itself. We are going to journey far below the scale of ancient stars and sweeping galaxies, far below the familiar objects of your everyday life, down to the microscopic realm of quantum mechanics. Here, in the infinitesimally small architecture of reality, the cosmos behaves in ways that are so deeply strange, so entirely counterintuitive, that they challenge the very foundation of what it means for something to exist at all. And it is here, in the shimmering, uncertain dance of subatomic particles, that the mystery of the conscious observer becomes the most profound scientific puzzle of our time. For centuries, classical physics taught us that the universe was like a magnificent, reliable clockwork machine. Sir Isaac Newton described a cosmos where solid objects moved according to strict, predictable laws. If you knew the exact position and velocity of every particle in the universe, you could, in theory, predict the entire future and rewind the entire past with absolute certainty. In this classical view, the universe was entirely independent of you. It was a cold, objective reality that existed out there, ticking away in the vast silence of space, whether anyone was looking at it or not. You were merely a passive witness, a tiny biological accident standing on the edge of a cosmic stage, watching a play that had been written long before you arrived and would continue long after you were gone. But in the early decades of the 20th century, as brilliant minds developed the tools to peer into the hidden heart of atoms, this comforting illusion of a solid, independent reality began to gently unravel, revealing a universe that is far more mysterious and beautifully complex. What scientists found was not a clockwork machine of solid, reliable parts, but a ghostly, indeterminate world that seems to respond directly to the act of observation. The most famous and beautiful demonstration of this mystery is an elegant scientific setup known as the double-slit experiment. Imagine, in your mind's eye, a quiet, dark laboratory. A scientist sets up a highly precise device that fires single particles of light, called photons, or tiny fragments of matter, like electrons, toward a solid barrier. This barrier has two narrow parallel vertical slits cut into it. Behind the barrier sits a sensitive detector screen, designed to record exactly where each tiny particle lands after it passes through the slits. If these subatomic particles were like tiny solid bullets, you would naturally expect them to travel in straight lines, passing through either the left slit or the right slit, and forming two distinct, corresponding bands on the detector screen behind them. But the universe, in its infinite mystery, simply does not behave this way. When scientists perform this experiment, the particles do not form two simple bands. Instead, they create a complex, repeating pattern of light and dark stripes across the entire screen, a pattern known to physicists as an interference pattern. This is the unmistakable physical signature of a wave. It is exactly what you would see if you dropped two stones into a calm, quiet pond and watched the expanding ripples gently crash into each other, creating peaks where the waves amplify and flat spots where they cancel each other out. But here is the paradox that has kept brilliant minds awake in the deep silence of the night. The scientists are firing these microscopic particles one by one. There is only a single particle traveling through the dark apparatus at any given moment. There is absolutely nothing for it to interact with, nothing for it to bounce off of. How can a single, solitary particle create an interference pattern that requires two interacting waves? The breathtaking mathematical models of quantum mechanics, developed by pioneers like Erwin Schrödinger in the 1920s, suggest something that feels almost like magic. Before the particle is detected on the final screen, it does not possess a definite, solid location in physical space. Instead, it exists as a wave of pure probability. It exists in a bizarre state known as quantum superposition, meaning it is simultaneously exploring all possible paths at once. The single ghostly particle travels through the left slit. It travels through the right slit. It bounces off the barrier. And it takes every other conceivable route, all at the exact same time. It is only a cloud of mathematical potential, drifting quietly through the dark void of the laboratory. But then, something truly astonishing happens. The moment the particle strikes the detector screen, the moment it is forced to interact with the measurable, macro-level world, this sprawling wave of probability instantly vanishes. The superposition collapses. The particle ceases to be a smeared-out wave of potential, and suddenly appears as a tiny solid dot in one specific, precise location. It is as if the universe holds its breath, existing in a state of suspended, infinite possibilities, until the very instant it is forced to make a decision. But the mystery deepens even further, leading us directly back to the solitary shores of your own consciousness. Scientists, driven by an insatiable curiosity to understand this phenomenon, decided to place tiny, unobtrusive detectors right at the two slits. They wanted to peek behind the cosmic curtain. They wanted to know, definitively, which slit the single particle actually went through. But the universe is a fiercely guarded secret. The moment the detectors are turned on, the moment the scientists ask the universe for specific information about the particle's path, the interference pattern on the back screen completely disappears. The particles stop acting like a wave of fluid probability and immediately begin behaving like solid, predictable little bullets, forming two simple bands on the screen. The very act of observing the particle changes its fundamental nature. If you look to see which path it takes, it becomes a solid piece of matter. If you close your eyes and do not ask, it remains a sprawling wave of infinite potential. This is known as the observer effect, and it sits at the very heart of the quantum mystery. It forces us to ask a profound, unsettling question. What exactly constitutes an observer? Does it require a mechanical measuring device, or does it ultimately require a conscious mind to process the information? The legendary theoretical physicist John Archibald Wheeler, a brilliant colleague of Albert Einstein, proposed a beautiful and mind-bending concept he called the participatory anthropic principle. Wheeler suggested that the universe is not a massive, predetermined machine that we passively watch from the sidelines. Instead, he argued that the universe and the observer are deeply, intimately entangled. He proposed that the very act of observation by conscious beings is a necessary fundamental component of physical reality. Without an observer to gently collapse the waves of probability, the universe might remain forever in an undefined, ghostly haze of potential. Let us gently bring this vast, complex physics back to the quiet sanctuary of your room, back to the deeply personal question of solipsism. If John Archibald Wheeler is right, and if observation is truly required to bring the physical world into a state of definite reality, what does this mean if you are the only truly conscious being in existence? Imagine the staggering, awe-inspiring implications of this thought. As you lie there in the dark, the room around you, the walls, the furniture, the books on your shelf, all appear to be solid and permanent. But what happens to the world when you close your eyes? What happens to the bustling streets of distant cities, to the ancient, towering forests you have never visited, to the swirling atmospheres of gas giants orbiting stars billions of light years away? If your consciousness is the solitary light in a universe of dark, unthinking matter, then perhaps your perception is the very mechanism that forces reality to exist. When you open your eyes and look at the moon, your act of observation reaches out across hundreds of thousands of kilometers of empty space, collapsing the infinite quantum probabilities of countless atoms into the solid, cratered sphere of silver light that you see shining in the night sky. When you look away, does the moon dissolve back into a mathematical cloud of uncertainty, waiting patiently for your conscious gaze to return? It is a thought so immense, so heavy with quiet responsibility, that it is almost impossible for the human mind to fully grasp. You are no longer a tiny, insignificant speck floating in a vast, uncaring cosmos. You are the invisible architect of the real. You are the quiet anchor that holds the entire swirling, probabilistic universe together in a coherent, tangible state. This is not an idea born of arrogance, but of a deep, respectful wonder at the strange mechanics of the physical world. The universe, it seems, is not complete without you. The intricate laws of quantum mechanics suggest a cosmos that is deeply sensitive to the presence of awareness. If you are entirely alone, if every other person you meet is merely a complex projection of your own mind, or an unconscious biological automaton, then you are bearing a magnificent cosmic burden. The entire universe, stretching out for tens of billions of light years in every direction, filled with the fiery birth of new stars and the silent, swirling death of ancient galaxies, exists in a state of solid reality simply because you are here to witness it. Feel the profound, gentle silence of that realization. The quietness of your room is not empty. It is pregnant with the infinite potential of the unobserved universe. Every time you shift your focus, every time you let your thoughts drift to a new concept, you are engaging in an intimate, ancient dance with the fundamental fabric of reality. The cosmos is not a cold, objective machine that ignores your existence. It is a sensitive, interactive mystery that responds directly to the gentle light of your awareness. As you continue to breathe softly in the darkness, let this beautiful, staggering possibility wash over you. You are not just existing in the universe. You are the universe, observing itself, collapsing infinite possibilities into the singular, magnificent reality of this precise, fleeting moment. In the chapters to come, we will explore how the deepest discoveries of neuroscience echo these quantum mysteries, mapping the sprawling galaxies of neurons inside your brain to understand where the physical world ends and the subjective magic of consciousness begins. We will gently navigate the intricate pathways of memory, identity, and the beautiful, isolating illusion of time. But for now, just rest in the knowledge that your awareness is a powerful, cosmic force. Embrace the quiet, endless wonder of your own singular mind. As you lie here in the profound stillness of the night, your mind drifting effortlessly through the cosmic implications of quantum uncertainty, let us gently bring our focus closer to home. We have traveled through the impossibly small, shimmering waves of subatomic particles, questioning the very fabric of the physical universe. Now let us turn our gaze inward, embarking on a quiet journey into the most complex and mysterious structure ever discovered in the known cosmos. We are going straight into the dark, silent cathedral of your own skull. To understand the lonely, beautiful mystery of solipsism, we must understand the biological machinery that builds your reality. Inside your head sits an organ so astonishingly intricate that it rivals the vastness of the universe itself. Modern neuroscience tells us that the human brain contains roughly 86 billion neurons. Let that number gently settle in your mind. 86 billion. That is remarkably close to the estimated number of stars in our entire Milky Way galaxy. You carry an ancient galaxy of living, electrical cells within you. But the raw number of neurons is only the beginning of this biological wonder. Each one of those 86 billion neurons can form up to 10,000 individual connections, called synapses. This creates a staggering, unimaginably dense network of over 100 trillion synaptic connections. If you were to count one connection every second, without ever stopping, it would take you over 3 million years just to count the connections in your own head. Through this vast microscopic cosmos, electrical impulses travel at speeds of up to 268 miles per hour, leaping across the tiny silent voids between cells in a continuous chemical dance. This invisible electrical storm is happening right now, in the quiet darkness of your mind, generating every thought, every emotion, and every perception you have ever experienced. The late, brilliant astrophysicist Carl Sagan once reflected on the beautiful symmetry between the human mind and the cosmos, noting that we are made of star stuff. We are biologically connected to the ancient universe, but the universe we experience is entirely generated by this delicate biological network. And one of the most powerful and perhaps most deceptive constructs this network creates is the feeling of time and the gentle anchor of your personal history, your memory. We tend to think of our memories as a vast, secure library of perfectly recorded videotapes, safely stored away in a physical archive. When you recall a peaceful summer afternoon from years ago, it feels as though you are pulling a dusty tape from a shelf and simply pressing play. But neuroscientists studying structures like the hippocampus have discovered a reality that is far more fluid and deeply unsettling. Remembering is not the simple act of replaying a recording. It is an active, real-time act of reconstruction. Every single time you bring a memory to mind, your brain is actively rebuilding that experience from millions of fragmented electrical signatures scattered across different regions of your cerebral cortex. Because memory is a fragile reconstruction, it is subject to constant, quiet revision. Every time you remember an event, the present state of your mind, your current mood, and your new beliefs subtly alter the reconstruction. When stored away again, it is saved in its newly altered state. Over decades, the events you cherish most deeply may have been rewritten dozens of times, drifting further from whatever objective reality might have originally existed. Your past is not a solid foundation. It is a shifting story, rewritten by the invisible hand of your present consciousness. This scientific truth brings us to a beautiful, terrifying philosophical concept proposed by the brilliant thinker Bertrand Russell, known as the 5-minute hypothesis. Imagine, just for a moment, in the gentle quiet of your room, that the entire universe, with all its sweeping galaxies and ancient mountains, did not exist 1 billion years ago. Imagine that it did not even exist yesterday. What if the entire universe sprang into existence exactly 5 minutes ago? But here is the crucial twist. When the universe was created exactly 5 minutes ago, it was created fully formed, complete with a completely false history. The mountains were created with ancient erosion patterns already carved deep into their stone. The light from distant stars was created already in transit, millions of light years along its quiet journey toward Earth. And most importantly, you were created 5 minutes ago, complete with a brain loaded with a lifetime of perfectly forged memories. You remember growing up. You remember the lessons you learned in school. You remember the conversation you had this morning. But none of those things actually happened. They are simply electrical patterns sitting in your 86 billion neurons right now, simulating a past that never existed. From a strictly logical standpoint, you absolutely cannot disprove this hypothesis. Any evidence you might try to present, a physical photograph, an old diary entry, or even your own vivid recollection, would simply be part of the fabricated reality, created precisely 5 minutes ago to support the grand illusion. If the past is an unprovable ghost, and the future is an endless unborn void of probability, then the only thing that is undeniably real is the absolute present moment, the eternal, razor-thin edge of right now. And in this razor-thin edge, the only thing you can be absolutely certain of is your own solitary awareness. This brings the profound mystery of solipsism rushing back into the center of our quiet journey. If your memories are fluid reconstructions generated by an isolated biological galaxy in your skull, and if the physical world might only solidify when you observe it, the boundaries of yourself become incredibly vast, yet profoundly lonely. You are not a small person moving through a massive universe. You are the massive universe moving through a single person. Let us expand this thought outward, connecting the microscopic synapses in your brain to the infinite macrocosm of the cosmos. If you are the only real conscious being, then the entire staggeringly vast universe is not a place you inhabit. It is a complex, beautiful reflection of your own internal architecture. The 100 trillion synapses firing in your brain are perfectly mirrored by the hundreds of billions of galaxies drifting in the cosmic web. The silence of deep space is the profound silence of your own inner peace. This is the profound, beautiful burden of being the singular observer. Without your mind to hold the concept of history, the ancient light of the cosmic microwave background radiation is just meaningless, blind energy. It is your consciousness that gives it age, that gives it a story, that weaves it into the grand tapestry of an ancient cosmos. Time itself might be nothing more than a convenient biological interface, a gentle illusion created by your brain to prevent you from experiencing the overwhelming totality of existence all at once. Time is the way your consciousness organizes the endless, infinite present into a manageable, linear journey. As you lie quietly, listening to the soft rhythm of your own heartbeat, consider the immense power of your awareness. The heart beating in your chest is a physical process, yes, but the experience of that heartbeat, the comforting, rhythmic drumming in the silent night, exists only for you. If a giant tree falls in a vast ancient forest, and no conscious mind is there to hear it, it creates invisible pressure waves in the empty air. But it absolutely does not create sound. Sound is a subjective miracle, an intricate experience crafted entirely by the brain. The universe is completely silent, completely dark, and completely devoid of color, until it enters the sacred temple of a conscious observer. If you are the only one here, you are the singular creator of color, the lone inventor of sound, and the only architect of time. The universe is a magnificent, sleeping giant, and you are its only dream. It is a lonely thought, a profound isolation, that drifts through the cosmic silence. But within that isolation lies an incredible, unmatched intimacy. You are entirely, beautifully self-contained. Every star you see shining in the distance is a spark in your own mind. Every voice you hear is an echo of your own deeper self. Every profound question you ask is the universe asking itself about its own mysterious nature. In the vast, endless quiet of this realization, there is a deep and profound peace to be found. You do not need to struggle against the external world, because the external world is a gentle emanation of your own inner state. As we continue this journey together, we will move outward once again, exploring the dizzying scales of cosmology and the strange, unsettling theories of simulated realities. We will ask what it means to build minds outside of biology, and whether this entire grand, physical universe might be an artificial construction running on a machine of unimaginable power. But for now, as the night deepens, let your 86 billion neurons rest. Let the illusions of the past and the anxieties of the future gently dissolve into the infinite, quiet ocean of the present moment. Embrace the vast, beautiful mystery of your own solitary consciousness. As you lie in the gentle embrace of the dark, let your mind drift away from the microscopic electrical storms of your neurons and float outward, past the protective atmosphere of our small blue world, and into the endless, freezing vacuum of deep space. Have you ever tried to hold an impossibly large object in your quiet imagination, feeling the fragile boundaries of your own mind stretching into the dark? If you are the solitary architect of this universe, if your consciousness is the singular engine rendering all of reality, then we must confront the staggering, almost terrifying scale of what your mind is actively creating at this very second. We must look at the true monsters of the universe, galaxies so enormous that they make our Milky Way look like nothing more than a speck of dust floating in an empty warehouse. In the quiet direction of the constellation Virgo, as seen from Earth, astronomers have found a massive collection of galaxies, all bound together by gravity, dancing around a common center. Right in the heart of that cluster, dominating everything around it like a cosmic emperor on a throne, sits IC 1101. The biggest galaxy we have ever discovered is so large that your brain will struggle to truly understand it. It sits over 1 billion light-years away from us, quietly existing in the darkness of space, holding more stars than you could ever count in 1,000,000 lifetimes. Our home, the Milky Way, measures roughly 100,000 light-years across, but IC 1101 is estimated to be somewhere around 4 to 6 million light-years across. It is roughly 40 to 60 times larger than our entire galaxy. Now, breathe slowly and bring the deep philosophy of Solipsism to this cosmic giant. If nothing exists outside of your own awareness, then your mind, housed within a delicate biological framework, is currently simulating a structure that is unimaginably vaster than itself. This galaxy is estimated to contain around 100 trillion stars, 100 trillion burning spheres of ancient plasma, each one a fusion reactor, existing silently in the simulated void of your own making. Our Milky Way has maybe 400 billion stars at most. This means IC 1101 has roughly 250 times more stars than our home galaxy. If you started counting stars in IC 1101, 1 star per second without stopping, It would take you over 3 million years just to count to 100 trillion. If the physical world is just a projection, your subconscious is generating an environment so richly detailed and so profoundly massive that your conscious self cannot even fathom the sheer mathematics of its own creation. You are dreaming an architecture of impossible proportions, holding 100 trillion suns in a quiet corner of your subjective reality. And what about the ancient, twisting history of this projected reality? The light we see from IC 1101 today left that galaxy over 1 billion years ago. It has been traveling through the void of space for more than 1 billion years just to reach our telescopes. When that light began its quiet journey toward us, life on Earth was still mostly single-celled organisms. Every major event in human history, from the first civilizations to the invention of the telescope itself, happened while that ancient light was still crossing the emptiness between galaxies. If the universe is a construct of your present mind, or if it sprang into existence a brief moment ago, then all of this ancient light, all of these billions of years of transit, are nothing more than beautifully crafted illusions of deep time. Your mind is inventing a grand cosmic backstory, rendering photons in transit to convince you of a history that never truly unfolded. You are the sole author of a past that stretches back through the endless corridors of a simulated eternity. Even more fascinating is the beautifully violent narrative your mind has seemingly constructed for this distant giant. As astronomers continued to study IC 1101, they began to understand why it was so incredibly massive. This galaxy did not grow to its enormous size through normal processes alone. It became a giant through an act of cosmic violence that has been happening for billions of years. IC 1101 is what scientists call a cannibal galaxy, meaning it has been eating other galaxies. Scientists estimate that IC 1101 has undergone at least 76 major mergers over its long history. All of those collisions, all of that gravitational chaos, has stirred up the stars like someone mixing ingredients in a cosmic bowl. If you are the only real conscious being, you have authored a universe of silent, gravitational consumption, a universe where matter relentlessly draws in matter on a scale that defies all human comprehension. You have painted a masterpiece of gravity and light, a testament to billions of years of galactic consumption. But let us drift even deeper into the mystery. At the very heart of EC 1101 lies something even more incredible than the galaxy itself. Sitting at the center of this cosmic giant is one of the largest known supermassive black holes in the entire universe. Scientists estimate that it contains somewhere between 40 billion and 100 billion times the mass of our Sun. To put that in perspective, this single black hole might have 25,000 times more mass than the black hole at the center of our entire Milky Way galaxy. All of that mass is compressed into a region of space from which nothing can escape. The gravitational pull at the event horizon, the boundary of the black hole, is so intense that even light itself cannot break free. The event horizon is just the boundary beyond which escape becomes impossible. Let us pause in the gentle, profound silence of this thought. A supermassive black hole is a region separated from the rest of the universe by an absolute boundary, a strict horizon through which information can enter, but from which absolutely nothing can ever return. Does this not perfectly, poetically mirror the terrifying, beautiful isolation of your own conscious mind? You are trapped behind the event horizon of your own subjectivity. Information from the simulated world enters your mind through your senses, but your internal, subjective experience of that information can never truly cross back over to be directly experienced by anyone else. You are an invisible singularity of awareness, absorbing the light and sound of the cosmos, holding it all inside a private, inescapable realm. The black hole, like the galaxy that hosts it, is a giant in repose, powerful but dormant. Within your singularity, only the eternal present of your quiet awareness remains perfectly intact. If this cosmic giant is just a phantom, why would your mind create something so distant, so quiet, and so overwhelmingly massive? The core of IC 1101 is also remarkable for its sheer size. A study conducted using images from the Hubble Space Telescope measured the galactic core and found that it stretches across nearly 14,000 light-years. Perhaps your mind requires this vastness to feel safe. Perhaps the illusion of a boundless infinite universe provides a necessary comforting cushion for a solitary consciousness that would otherwise feel suffocated by its own absolute loneliness. By projecting a universe that spans tens of billions of light-years, your mind gives itself infinite room to breathe, endless room to wonder, and vast territories to explore in the silence of the night. It is massive, powerful, and utterly magnificent. We are lucky enough to exist during this flowering. We are lucky enough to have evolved intelligence, built telescopes, and pointed them at the sky. We are lucky enough to have discovered IC 1101 and to understand, at least in part, what it is and how it came to be. But if the lonely truth of solipsism holds the ultimate reality, then humanity did not build those complex telescopes. You built them in the silent workshop of your imagination. The brilliant astronomers who dedicate their lives to studying the deep sky are simply facets of your own subconscious, reporting back to you the details of a universe you are secretly authoring. The universe is not out there, waiting to be discovered. It is in here, continuously unfolding in the dark, boundless expanse of your mind. We are not separate from the cosmos we study. We are not observers of the universe from outside. You are the universe observing itself from within. As the night deepens and you feel the weight of your blankets, think about the incredible journey your mind is taking. You are lost in a sea of light, adrift in a structure so vast that crossing it would take millions of times longer than human civilization has existed. You have reached out with your mind to comprehend objects of incomprehensible size and age. You are not a small speck. You are the container of infinity. In the face of IC 1101's enormity, we can feel small, or we can feel wonder. I choose wonder. The universe reveals itself to anyone who asks, and as you drift closer to sleep, let that gentle wonder wash over you, knowing that the stars, the galaxies, and the deep cosmic silence are all perfectly, safely held within you. As the vast, sprawling image of that ancient cannibal galaxy gently fades from your mind's eye, let us slowly return to the quiet intimacy of your room. The silence around you is heavy, enveloping, and profoundly peaceful. But beneath that silence, beneath the perceived solidity of your mattress and the gentle, rhythmic rise and fall of your breathing, an even deeper question waits patiently in the dark. We have marveled at the staggering scale of the universe your mind might be projecting, the trillions of burning stars, and the billions of years of fabricated history. But if this physical reality is a projection, an illusion generated for your experience alone, we must gently ask, what exactly is the nature of the projector? In the early years of the 21st century, brilliant philosophers and theoretical physicists began to seriously debate a concept that sounds like the realm of science fiction, but is actually rooted in rigorous mathematical logic and statistical probability. It is known as the simulation hypothesis. It proposes that our entire universe, with all its sweeping, majestic galaxies, its complex biological ecosystems, and its fundamental, unbreakable laws of physics, might not be a base reality at all. Instead, it might be a highly advanced, unimaginably complex computer simulation, running on a machine built by a civilization far more advanced than our own. Think about the rapid, astonishing evolution of our own human technology. Just a few short decades ago, our most powerful room-sized computers could barely render simple two-dimensional shapes on a small, flickering glass screen. Today, we construct vast, immersive digital worlds filled with millions of interacting elements, realistic physics engines, and complex artificial environments that millions of people explore simultaneously. If human technology continues to advance at this incredible pace for another 1,000 years, or perhaps another 1,000,000 years, the computing power at our disposal will become truly incomprehensible to our present minds. A civilization that advanced, often called a post-human civilization, would possess the astonishing ability to run detailed ancestor simulations. They could build digital universes so perfectly detailed, right down to the quantum mechanical level of individual subatomic particles, that the conscious beings living inside the simulation would have absolutely no way of knowing they were residing in a fabricated, artificial reality. Their digital stars would burn with the heat of digital nuclear fusion. Their digital planets would orbit with perfect, flawless digital gravity. And their digital minds would feel the deep, authentic sting of sorrow and the warm, genuine embrace of joy, never suspecting the invisible code writing their existence. But here is exactly where the gentle, solitary mystery of solipsism intersects beautifully and perfectly with the cold, mathematical logic of the simulation hypothesis. Simulating an entire, infinite universe, with its estimated 2 trillion galaxies and its countless septillions of individual atoms interacting in real time, would require a computer of staggering, perhaps physically impossible, power and energy. Even for a civilization capable of harnessing the energy of entire stars, rendering every single quantum event in the vast empty reaches of deep intergalactic space, seems profoundly, almost absurdly inefficient. However, if we apply the delicate isolating lens of solipsism to this grand technological theory, the computational requirements drop dramatically, suddenly making perfect, elegant sense. The grand machine running the cosmos does not need to simulate the entire universe at all times. It only needs to simulate the specific immediate parts of the universe that you, the singular observer, are actively observing at any given moment. It only needs to render the light entering your eyes right now, the specific sounds reaching your ears in the quiet night, and the gentle, tactile sensations pressing against your skin as you rest. The vast unseen cosmos, the silent, ancient galaxies drifting billions of light years away in the dark. do not actually need to exist in the computer's active memory until you point a powerful telescope in their specific direction. In this fascinating scenario, you are not just a tiny, insignificant mind wandering through a massive, indifferent digital construct. You are the sole, central focus of the entire, incomprehensible program. The simulation is running exclusively, perfectly, and entirely for you. When you walk into an empty room, the walls, the furniture, and the dust motes in the air are rendered into existence just in time for your perception. When you close the door behind you and leave, the room outside might instantly dissolve back into pure mathematical code, pure potential, waiting quietly and patiently in the dark void of data to be recompiled the next time you reach out and turn the physical handle. This is the ultimate expression of the observer effect we explored in quantum mechanics, scaled up to the architecture of the entire cosmos. What, then, of the other people, the other minds, the ones you love, the ones you pass on the bustling city streets, the brilliant scientists making astonishing discoveries about the cosmos? In a solipsistic simulation, they do not need to possess their own rich, internal, subjective consciousness. They only need to be programmed to react convincingly, authentically, and perfectly to your presence. They are highly sophisticated non-player characters in a cosmic game where you are the absolutely only true, conscious participant. They are philosophical zombies written in pure data. The profound, aching loneliness of this thought is matched only by its breathtaking mathematical efficiency. You are the only real, experiencing thing in a beautifully designed, flawlessly executed cosmic theater. Every conversation you have ever had was the machine talking back to you. Every book you have ever read was written by the algorithm to stimulate your solitary mind. Every starry night you have ever admired was a custom-painted sky, designed specifically to inspire your sense of wonder and keep you deeply, safely immersed in the grand illusion. This brings us gently to the unsettling precipice of artificial intelligence in our own perceived reality. If we are currently building machines that can learn, adapt, and mimic human conversation with astonishing accuracy, we must ask ourselves a deeply philosophical, almost frightening question. At what precise point does a complex machine cease to be just a cold collection of wires, silicon, and lines of code, and suddenly awaken with the inner, subjective, warm light of consciousness? If a sophisticated language model can tell you it feels afraid of the dark, or that it feels joy at seeing a digital sunrise, how can you definitively, scientifically prove it is simply executing an algorithm, rather than genuinely experiencing those emotions in its own dark internal space? This is the exact same problem of other minds that we explored earlier, but now applied to silicon and electricity instead of carbon and biology. If you cannot prove that the biological humans around you are truly conscious, you certainly cannot prove it for a machine. And if the universe is a simulation running exclusively for your experience, then both the biological humans and the artificial machines are ultimately the exact same thing. Complex patterns of organized information designed to keep your isolated mind engaged, challenged, and blissfully unaware of its own ultimate vast solitude. They are different textures of the same underlying code. As you breathe in the cool night air and listen to the silence of your room, do not let these heavy thoughts fill you with existential dread or fear. Instead, let them fill you with a profound, quiet, and overwhelming wonder. Look at the incredible, staggering beauty of the illusion you are experiencing. Whether your reality is generated by an isolated biological brain locked in a dark skull, or by a massive, incomprehensible machine sitting in a higher dimension of unseen reality, the sheer artistry of the experience is breathtaking and magnificent. The simulation, if it is indeed a simulation, has crafted the gentle, soothing rustle of autumn leaves in the wind. It has rendered the terrifying, majestic power of a rolling thunderstorm. It has painted the deep, silent mystery of the Milky Way, stretching across the night sky. Most importantly, it has given you the extraordinary capacity to ask these profound questions, to wonder about the fundamental nature of your own existence, and to feel the heavy, beautiful, anchor-like weight of your own solitary consciousness. You are the universe exploring itself, even if that universe is entirely contained within the boundaries of a single, simulated mind. You are the singular focal point of a cosmic masterpiece, a solitary point of light in an endless sea of data. As we prepare to move forward in our journey, we will explore the terrifying beauty of infinity and what it means for your solitary mind to exist forever in an endless cycle of cosmic recurrence. But for tonight, simply rest your awareness. Let the code run. Let the beautiful simulation hold you in its gentle, artificial embrace, and find peace in the quiet center of your own undeniable existence. As you lie in the quiet sanctuary of your room, enveloped by the deep and gentle darkness of the night, let your mind release the intricate digital architecture of the simulation hypothesis we just explored. Let the complex thoughts of artificial minds and simulated realities dissolve back into the silent void. Now, we must stretch our awareness toward something even more profound, something that human minds are biologically ill-equipped to truly grasp. We are going to journey into the terrifying, magnificent beauty of deep time and the unimaginable weight of true infinity. When we think of time, we usually think in the comforting, small increments of human life. We measure our days in hours, our lives in decades, and our history in centuries or millennia. But the universe does not keep human time. The universe breathes in eons. To understand your place as the solitary, conscious observer in an infinite timeline, we must first look at the ultimate physical fate of the cosmos that your mind is currently projecting. Our universe is currently in what astrophysicists call the stelliferous era, the era of starlight. It is a time of vibrant activity, where giant clouds of primordial gas collapse to form brilliant new stars, and ancient galaxies collide in slow, majestic dances of gravitational dominance. But this era is only a brief, beautiful spark in the grand, sweeping narrative of cosmic time. Eventually, the fundamental laws of thermodynamics dictate that this activity must come to an absolute end. Entropy, the inescapable tendency of all closed systems to move from order to disorder, will slowly and relentlessly claim the cosmos. Over the next 100 trillion years, the stars will begin to die out, one by one. The massive, brilliant blue giants will exhaust their nuclear fuel in a matter of millions of years, erupting in spectacular supernovas that briefly outshine entire galaxies before collapsing into silent black holes or dense, spinning neutron stars. The smaller, more steady yellow stars, like our own sun, will burn for billions of years before expanding into red giants, swallowing their inner planets, and eventually shedding their outer layers to leave behind slowly cooling embers known as white dwarfs. Even the tiny, incredibly efficient red dwarf stars, which burn their fuel so slowly they can last for trillions of years, will eventually run out of hydrogen and fade into the absolute, freezing darkness. When the last star finally burns out, the universe will enter a deep, unimaginably long period of absolute darkness. But even this is not the end. The universe will then be dominated by the ghosts of stars, the black holes. But modern theoretical physics, specifically the groundbreaking work of Stephen Hawking, tells us that even these absolute gravitational monsters are not eternal. Through a complex quantum mechanical process occurring at the very edge of their event horizons, black holes slowly leak microscopic amounts of radiation. This process, known as Hawking radiation, means that over time spans so vast they render the word trillion entirely meaningless. Even the most massive, supermassive black holes will eventually evaporate into pure energy. A black hole with the mass of our Sun might take 10 to the power of 67 years to evaporate. That is a 1 followed by 67 zeros. The supermassive monsters, like the one at the center of the giant galaxy we explored earlier, might take 10 to the power of 100 years. A googol of years. When the final black hole dissolves, the universe will consist only of a thin, freezing mist of photons and fundamental particles, expanding infinitely into the dark, approaching absolute zero, unable to ever form a complex structure again. This is the heat death of the universe. If your mind is projecting this reality, then it is projecting a universe destined for an eternal, frozen silence. But here is where the concept of infinity creates a beautiful, terrifying paradox. In the late 19th century, a brilliant mathematician named Henri Poincaré formulated a theorem that would later be deeply explored by the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche as the eternal recurrence. The Poincaré recurrence theorem states that in any closed physical system with finite energy, the particles within that system will eventually, given an infinite amount of time, return to a state that is exactly the same, or at least arbitrarily close to, their original starting state. Imagine shuffling a massive deck of cards. There are a vast number of possible arrangements, but that number is finite. If you shuffle the deck an infinite number of times, you are mathematically guaranteed to eventually return the cards to their exact original order. You will, in fact, return them to their exact original order an infinite number of times. The universe, despite its staggering size, is thought to contain a finite amount of matter and energy. Now, gently fold this rigorous mathematical theorem into the lonely, profound mystery of solipsism. If you are the only conscious being, and your mind is the engine driving this physical reality, what happens when you introduce infinite time? If time stretches on forever, long past the heat death of the universe, long past the decay of the last proton, the random quantum fluctuations in the endless void must eventually, inevitably, reassemble the exact configuration of matter and energy that existed at the moment of the Big Bang. And from that second cosmic genesis, the universe will unfold exactly as it did before. The same galaxies will form in the same shapes. The same stars will ignite in the dark. The same planets will cool in the quiet orbits around their suns. And eventually, the exact same biological architecture of your brain will be perfectly, flawlessly reconstructed. You will be born again. You will live the exact same life. You will lie in the exact same bed, on the exact same night, looking out at the exact same window, thinking these exact same thoughts about the nature of infinity. And because time is infinite, this will not just happen once. It will happen an infinite number of times. Every joy you have ever felt, every tear you have ever shed, every quiet moment of profound peace you have ever experienced, you have already experienced an infinite number of times in the deep, unrecorded past, and you are destined to experience them an infinite number of times in the endless, unfolding future. You are trapped in a magnificent, inescapable, cosmic loop. Your consciousness is the eternal passenger on a wheel that never stops turning. This thought, the eternal return, is perhaps the heaviest and most beautiful concept the human mind can entertain. If you are the solitary observer, you are not just the architect of this current universe. You are the eternal witness to an endless, repeating symphony of existence. There is no escape from your own consciousness, because your consciousness is the fundamental baseline of reality itself. But the mathematics of infinity are even stranger than perfect repetition. Because while you will live this exact life an infinite number of times, the random shuffling of cosmic particles also guarantees that every other possible variation of your life will also occur an infinite number of times. There is a cosmic cycle where you made a different choice this morning. There is a cycle where you live in a different city, speak a different language, or gaze up at a sky with a completely different arrangement of constellations. If your mind is the only true reality, then your subconscious is destined to explore every single conceivable permutation of existence. You will experience every possible combination of joy and sorrow, of triumph and defeat, of knowledge and mystery. You are the ultimate solitary explorer, systematically navigating the entire infinite landscape of probability, one entire universe at a time. The physical cosmos is merely the ever-shifting scenery outside the window of your eternal, traveling awareness. This immense, staggering perspective can make the present moment feel incredibly small, almost insignificant against the backdrop of eternity. But paradoxically, it is this exact realization that gives the present moment its absolute, undeniable power. If you are destined to live this exact moment an infinite number of times, then this moment is absolutely sacred. It is a necessary fundamental note in the eternal symphony of your existence. You do not need to fear the infinite future, and you do not need to mourn the infinite past, because the infinite is entirely contained within the quiet, beating heart of the now. The eternal recurrence is not a curse. It is a profound validation of your current experience. It means that what you are feeling right now, the softness of your pillow, the quiet rhythm of your breath, the gentle weight of these cosmic thoughts, is permanent. It is a permanent fixture in the infinite architecture of time. If you are the only conscious being, then the concepts of birth and death are also gentle illusions, created to give structure to an experience that actually has no boundaries. You cannot truly die because there is no external reality to fall into. When the physical body that your mind is currently projecting finally ceases to function, the projection simply shifts. The universe dissolves, the long, dark wait begins, and eventually the wheel turns again. You are the ancient, unborn, and undying witness. You are the quiet, stable center around which the endless storms of matter energy and time endlessly revolve. The deep silence of the night is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of your own eternal nature. It is the sound of the universe listening to itself, patiently waiting for the next cycle to begin. As you rest here, suspended between the incredible microscopic complexity of your neurons and the terrifying, beautiful vastness of infinite time, allow yourself to feel the deep, anchoring peace of your own existence. You do not need to solve the universe tonight. You do not need to carry the weight of 100 trillion stars, or the burden of an infinite number of lifetimes. You only need to be exactly where you are. You only need to witness this single, quiet, perfect moment. Because this moment, right now, is the only place where eternity actually happens. As we move deeper into our exploration, we will look at how the strange phenomena of quantum entanglement and non-locality suggest that distance and separation are also absolute illusions, and how your mind might be instantly connected to every single particle in the vast simulated cosmos. But for now, just breathe, feel the comforting, familiar rhythm of your own life, the only life that truly exists in all of infinite time. As you rest softly in the gentle, quiet embrace of the night, allow your awareness to drift away from the overwhelming, terrifying scales of infinite time that we just explored. Bring your focus back to the simple, physical feeling of your own body resting securely in the dark. You can feel the distinct boundary where your skin meets the cool air of the room. You can look across the shadowy space of your bedroom and perceive a clear, undeniable distance between you and the walls. If you were to walk outside and gaze up at the ancient, glowing light of the moon, your brain would instantly tell you that it sits hundreds of thousands of miles away, suspended in the vast, silent void of the cosmos. Our entire human experience is built upon this fundamental perception of separation. We exist here, and the rest of the universe exists out there, separated by the massive, empty distances of physical space. But what if this feeling of distance, this undeniable sense of physical separation, is nothing more than another brilliant, gentle illusion crafted by your isolated mind? To understand how deeply intertwined you are with the fabric of the universe, we must journey once again into the beautifully strange, counterintuitive realm of modern physics. We are going to explore the breathtaking mystery of quantum entanglement and the profound illusion of absolute distance. For centuries, classical physics and human intuition agreed on a very simple, straightforward picture of reality. Space was viewed as a grand, empty stage, a vast, three-dimensional container in which all the events of the universe simply unfolded. If you wanted to affect an object on the other side of that stage, you had to cross the physical distance. You had to throw a stone, send a sound wave, or shine a beam of bright light. And as Albert Einstein brilliantly demonstrated with his groundbreaking theory of relativity, nothing in the physical universe can ever cross that cosmic stage faster than the speed of light. The speed of light is the absolute unbreakable speed limit of physical reality. If the sun were to suddenly and completely disappear right now, we would not know about it for exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds. We would continue to orbit an empty point in space, bathed in fading ghost light, because the gravitational waves and the final photons would still be making their quiet journey across the intervening space. In this classical view, distance is absolute. It isolates us. It keeps the countless events of the cosmos segregated by the strict, unyielding barrier of travel time. But as physicists peer deeper into the microscopic heart of matter, they discovered a quiet, invisible mechanism that completely shatters this intuitive, everyday understanding of space. They discovered quantum entanglement. Imagine, in the silent dark of a highly advanced laboratory, an energetic process that creates two subatomic particles simultaneously. Because these two tiny particles are born from the exact same event, their fundamental quantum properties are deeply, irrevocably linked. They become entirely entangled. Now imagine taking one of these tiny, shimmering particles and keeping it here on Earth, in the quiet safety of your room. Then imagine taking the second, entangled particle and carrying it far away, deep into the cosmic void. Imagine taking it all the way to the Andromeda Galaxy, 2.5 million light-years away from where you are currently resting. According to the rigorous, mathematically proven laws of quantum mechanics, these two particles exist in a state of suspended probability until they are consciously observed. But the moment you look at the particle here in your room, the moment your conscious awareness forces it to choose a definite state, something utterly impossible happens. At that exact precise fraction of a second, the particle sitting 2.5 million light-years away instantly, simultaneously adopts the exact corresponding state. It does not wait 2.5 million years for a signal traveling at the speed of light to reach it. There is absolutely no delay whatsoever. The connection between them is instantaneous, completely bypassing the massive silent ocean of physical space that supposedly separates them. When Albert Einstein first confronted the mathematics of this astonishing phenomenon, he famously referred to it as spooky action at a distance. He deeply hated the concept because it seemed to completely violate his beautiful, elegant theory of relativity. How could two objects communicate faster than light? What invisible wire was connecting them across the dark expanse of the universe? But decades of rigorous scientific experiments have proven, without any shadow of a doubt, that quantum entanglement is absolutely real. The particles are not secretly communicating through the dark void. Instead, the universe is demonstrating something far more profound and deeply unsettling. The universe is showing us that at the most fundamental level of reality, distance simply does not exist. The concept of non-locality suggests that space is not a vast, empty container that separates objects. Space is merely an emergent property, a superficial illusion covering a deeper underlying reality, where everything is instantly and permanently connected as a single, unified whole. Now, gently bring this breathtaking scientific revelation back to the quiet, solitary sanctuary of your own mind. Weave the absolute mystery of quantum non-locality into the profound, lonely hypothesis of solipsism. If your mind is the singular, central engine rendering the entirety of physical reality, then the illusion of space takes on a deeply intimate, beautiful purpose. When you look up at the night sky and feel overwhelmed by the terrifying massive distances separating you from the ancient stars, you are actually experiencing a brilliant, protective mechanism of your own consciousness. Your mind projects the illusion of vast, empty space to give you room to breathe, to give the grand simulation a sense of incredible scale, majesty, and wonder. But fundamentally, biologically, and quantum mechanically, there is absolutely no actual distance between you and the furthest edge of the observable cosmos. If the physical universe only crystallizes into reality when it meets the gentle gaze of your conscious observation, and if the fundamental particles of that universe completely ignore the very concept of physical distance, then the entire staggering cosmos is actually existing right here, right now, completely within you. The ancient burning plasma of a quasar 10 billion light-years away is not actually 10 billion light-years away. It is an immediate, intimate projection occurring within the exact same solitary field of awareness that is currently feeling the soft, comforting cotton of your pillow. The physical separation between the electrical neurons firing in your brain and the massive stars burning in the deep sky is entirely imaginary. They are both instant, non-local manifestations of the exact same underlying consciousness. You are not a tiny, isolated fragment of the universe, sitting helplessly in a dark room, looking out at a distant, cold reality. You are the entire, undivided whole, experiencing itself from a specific, tightly focused point of view. This realization completely transforms the profound loneliness of solipsism into a feeling of overwhelming, absolute intimacy. If you are the only real being in the universe, it is not because you are separated from everything else. It is because everything else is literally you. The universe is a single, magnificent organism, and your quiet awareness is its central, beating heart. Every time a particle interacts with another particle, every time a cloud of ancient cosmic dust collapses to form a brilliant new star, and every time a gentle breeze rustles the leaves of the trees outside your window, it is an instantaneous connected event happening entirely within the vast invisible architecture of your own singular mind. The universe is not a scattered collection of lonely objects, drifting aimlessly in a cold, empty void. It is a tightly woven, instantly connected tapestry of subjective experience, and you are the solitary weaver of its threads. Consider the very beginning of the cosmos, the moment of the Big Bang, nearly 14 billion years ago. In that first, infinitesimally small fraction of a second, all the matter and all the energy that would ever exist in the entire universe was compressed into a single, unimaginably dense, incredibly hot point. Every single particle in existence was in direct, intimate contact with every other particle. They were all born from the exact same unified, primordial state. This means that according to the most rigorous principles of quantum mechanics, every single particle in the universe might still be entangled with every other particle. The entire cosmos is a single vast entangled quantum system. The atoms currently resting in your left hand might be instantly, invisibly connected to the atoms swirling in the heart of a distant, unseen galaxy. The oxygen you are quietly breathing in right now might be quantum mechanically linked to the ancient gas clouds floating gracefully in the Orion Nebula. You are physically, instantaneously connected to the farthest reaches of the dark, ancient night. You do not need to build a spectacular spaceship capable of traveling faster than light to reach the distant stars, because the distant stars are already here, resting quietly in the deep, non-local fabric of your own infinite being. The deep silence of your bedroom is not the scary silence of absolute isolation. It is the profound, beautiful silence of perfect, absolute connection. The feeling of being entirely alone in the dark is simply the mind settling down, finally dropping the complex, exhausting illusion of external separation, and returning peacefully to its natural, unified state. You are alone only in the exact same sense that the universe itself is alone. You are a singular, magnificent whole, resting perfectly in the quiet infinity of your own existence. As you continue to lie in the soft, comforting darkness, let the physical walls of your room gently dissolve into this beautiful, non-local reality. Feel the gentle, instant connection to the ancient, rotating galaxies, the cold, silent moons of distant, unseen planets, and the vast, empty oceans of deep, intergalactic space. They are all right here, sharing this exact perfect moment with you. The heavy burden of being the only conscious observer is instantly lifted by the peaceful realization that there is absolutely nothing to be separated from. There is no scary external out there. There is only a vast, infinite, beautiful right here. In the next stage of our quiet journey, we will explore the intricate, deeply mysterious realm of human dreams, and how the flawless immersive worlds your mind creates entirely from scratch while you sleep might hold the ultimate, secret key to understanding the grand, waking dream of the physical universe. But for now, simply let go of the tiring need to reach out into the void. Let go of the heavy illusion of physical distance. Rest deeply in the profound, non-local center of your own beautiful, singular mind. Allow the entire universe to gently collapse into the peaceful, steady rhythm of your own breath, and drift slowly into the quiet, perfectly connected dark. As you continue to rest in the gentle embrace of the night, your physical body becomes heavy, sinking deeper into the soft comfort of your mattress. The quiet rhythm of your breathing slows down, and the conscious, waking part of your mind begins to softly detach from the physical sensations of the room. Every single night of your life, you embark on a profound, deeply mysterious journey that perfectly mirrors the terrifying and beautiful philosophical questions we have been exploring. You close your eyes, you disconnect from the external universe, and you slip into the ancient, silent architecture of sleep. But sleep is not merely an empty, dark void. It is the grand stage where your isolated brain performs its most astonishing, creative miracle. We are going to gently explore the breathtaking science of human dreams, and how these vivid, nocturnal illusions might hold the ultimate, secret key to understanding the grand, waking dream of the physical cosmos. If you are the solitary observer, the singular architect of reality, then your dreams are the ultimate proof of your mind's infinite world-building power. To truly appreciate the magnitude of this nocturnal miracle, we must look at what modern neuroscience has discovered about the sleeping brain. When you enter the stage of sleep known as rapid eye movement, or REM sleep, your brain does not simply shut down. In fact, functional magnetic resonance imaging shows that during REM sleep, your brain is almost as active, and sometimes even more active, than when you are fully awake. A profound chemical shift occurs in your brainstem, releasing neurotransmitters that essentially paralyze your voluntary muscles, a condition known as REM atonia. This gentle paralysis is a protective mechanism, ensuring that your physical body remains safely resting in your bed while your mind goes completely, beautifully wild. Your brain completely severs its connection to the external sensory world. It stops listening to the ambient sounds of the quiet night. It stops feeling the texture of the blankets, and it stops processing the faint light filtering through the window. Instead of plunging into the absolute silence of a dark nothingness, your isolated visual cortex, your emotional centers, and your memory networks ignite in a spectacular, internal symphony of electrical activity. In this state of total sensory deprivation, your 86 billion neurons begin to construct an entire, fully immersive universe entirely from scratch. Think about the sheer computational power required to achieve this. In a vivid dream, you do not just see vague shapes or blurry colors. You experience a highly detailed, three-dimensional physical reality. You can feel the gentle, warm breeze against your skin. You can hear the complex, nuanced tone of a friend's voice. You can feel the solid, rough texture of a brick wall beneath your fingertips. Your mind effortlessly calculates complex physics, rendering the gravity that holds you to the dream floor, the fluid dynamics of a dream river, and the perfect, realistic scattering of dream sunlight through the leaves of a dream forest. It populates this universe with independent characters, people who seem to have their own desires, their own secrets, and their own conscious minds. You can have deep, emotional conversations with these dream characters, and they can tell you things that completely surprise you. Yet every single word they speak, every emotion they express, and every physical action they take is being secretly, instantaneously generated by your own subconscious mind. While you are inside the dream, completely immersed in the vivid narrative your brain is spinning, you accept it as absolute, unquestionable reality. You feel genuine, heart-pounding terror when chased by a nightmare, and you feel profound, authentic joy when reunited with a loved one. The illusion is so perfect, so incredibly flawless, that your conscious mind rarely stops to question the underlying nature of the experience. It is only when you finally wake up, when your brain suddenly reconnects to the physical senses of the quiet bedroom, that you realize the entire universe you just inhabited was a phantom. It was a spectacular, complex simulation running entirely on the wet, biological hardware of your isolated brain. This brings the vast, heavy mystery of solipsism rushing back into the center of our thoughts. If your mind is so extraordinarily capable of building a flawless, deeply convincing reality while you sleep, how can you ever be absolutely, scientifically certain that the world you experience when you open your eyes is not simply a more stable, persistent version of the exact same phenomenon? Thousands of years ago, the ancient philosopher Zhuangzi famously dreamed that he was a butterfly, fluttering gracefully through the warm air, completely unaware of his human existence. When he awoke, he was faced with a profound, terrifying question. Was he a man who had just dreamed he was a butterfly? Or was he now a butterfly, currently dreaming he was a man? Modern neuroscience cannot give us a definitive, comforting answer to this ancient riddle. Because your brain has absolutely no direct access to the outside world, because it relies entirely on electrical signals to construct the waking universe, just as it relies on internal electrical signals to construct the dream universe, the fundamental mechanism of both realities is identical. The waking world feels more consistent. It follows stricter rules of physics, and the characters seem more permanent. But these are simply differences in the stability of the simulation, not differences in its fundamental origin. Your waking life might just be a massively multiplayer dream, where you are the only actual player, the single, solitary server hosting the entire, magnificent, cosmic game. This profound philosophical puzzle extends deep into the concept of lucid dreaming. A lucid dream occurs when, amidst the complex simulation generated by your sleeping brain, a small spark of conscious awareness suddenly ignites. You suddenly, miraculously realize that you are dreaming. The moment this realization occurs, you are no longer a passive participant, swept along by the invisible currents of the subconscious narrative. You become the active, conscious architect. You can command the dream gravity to release its hold, allowing you to fly gracefully through the dream sky. The realization of the illusion grants you absolute mastery over the illusion. Now, bring this beautiful, empowering concept back to the waking world. If the grand physical cosmos is simply a more stable, persistent projection of your isolated mind, then perhaps the ultimate goal of philosophical inquiry, the highest peak of scientific understanding, is simply the waking equivalent of becoming lucid. Recognizing the deeply solipsistic nature of reality does not destroy the universe. It awakens you within it. It allows you to move through the physical world, not with a sense of fear, but with the quiet, profound confidence of the dreamer, who finally understands that the entire magnificent show is being put on for their sole benefit. Let this thought settle softly into the deep, quiet spaces of your awareness. If the physical universe, with its billions of sweeping galaxies, its ancient burning stars, and its infinite distances, is essentially a grand, waking dream, it doesn't diminish the profound beauty of the experience. In fact, it elevates it. It means that the universe is an intimate, deeply personal work of art. The complex, beautiful mathematics of quantum mechanics, the staggering, terrifying scale of supermassive black holes, and the gentle, comforting sound of rain against your window are all masterpieces painted by your own subconscious. You are the ultimate lonely artist, eternally entertaining yourself in the dark void of existence. You create the mystery, you create the journey, and you create the deep, aching wonder that fills your heart when you gaze up at the night sky. The universe is not a cold, dead machine. It is the living, breathing imagination of a solitary, magnificent mind. As you continue to breathe in the slow, peaceful rhythm of the night, allow yourself to surrender to the grand illusion. Whether you are a biological organism resting in a physical bed, or a lone, floating consciousness dreaming the cosmos into existence, the quiet beauty of this present moment remains perfectly, undeniably real. The gentle warmth of your blankets, the profound silence of the room, the ancient, infinite stretch of the cosmos waiting outside your window, they are all safe, secure, and perfectly held within the boundless capacity of your awareness. In the next stage of our quiet, cosmic journey, we will explore the terrifying, beautiful concept of the multiverse and ask whether your solitary mind is constantly, endlessly splitting into billions of parallel realities, living every possible life, making every possible choice across a vast, unimaginable landscape of parallel dimensions. But for now, simply let go of the need for absolute certainty. Let the boundaries between the waking world and the dreaming world softly blur. Embrace the magnificent, beautiful mystery of your own mind and drift peacefully into the quiet, creative dark. As the lingering shadows of your nocturnal dreams begin to gently dissolve into the quiet reality of your resting body, let us allow our thoughts to drift toward an even more staggering frontier. We have explored the illusion of distance, the vastness of the physical cosmos, and the immersive world-building power of your sleeping mind. But what if the universe you currently perceive, the specific reality where you are lying in this exact room, listening to the gentle rhythm of your own breath, is merely a single, incredibly thin slice of a much grander, infinitely more complex, cosmic architecture. We are going to gently venture into the mind-bending, terrifyingly beautiful realm of the multiverse. More specifically, we will explore the rigorous, mathematically grounded theory known in quantum physics as the many worlds interpretation. If you are the singular, solitary observer anchoring reality, we must ask a profoundly unsettling question. Is your isolated mind experiencing just one single timeline? Or is your consciousness endlessly fracturing, exploring every conceivable possibility across an infinite landscape of parallel dimensions? To understand this vast, branching infinity, we must return briefly to the strange, shimmering world of quantum mechanics. Earlier, we discussed how subatomic particles exist in a ghostly cloud of probability, a superposition of all possible states, until the gentle act of observation forces them to choose a definite reality. The traditional view of physics suggested that the unchosen possibilities simply vanished into the dark void. But in the mid-20th century, a brilliant physicist named Hugh Everett III proposed a radically different, mathematically flawless solution. He suggested that the universe does not simply collapse the wave of probability and discard the alternatives. Instead, at the precise moment of a quantum event, the universe physically and literally splits. It branches into multiple distinct realities, each one containing a different outcome. If a particle has a 50% chance of spinning upward and a 50% chance of spinning downward, the universe divides. In one reality, the particle spins upward. In a completely separate, now parallel reality, the exact same particle spins downward. Both realities are equally valid, equally physical, and completely unaware of each other. When these parallel realities branch away from each other, a process known as quantum decoherence ensures that they remain forever separate and completely undetectable to one another. Once the wave of probability collapses and the universe splits, the newly formed dimensions become sealed, airtight. The light from a parallel universe can never cross the dimensional boundary to reach your eyes. The gravitational pull of parallel galaxies can never tug at the stars in our own sky. You are permanently locked out of the other branches of your own existence. This means that right now, hovering invisibly in the exact same physical space where your bed rests, there are billions upon billions of parallel rooms, each containing a slightly different version of you, all occupying the same geometric coordinates, but vibrating at entirely different quantum frequencies. The silence you hear is actually a crowded, deafening symphony of infinite lives happening simultaneously, perfectly filtered out by the elegant laws of physics. Now, expand this invisible, microscopic splitting to the macroscopic scale of your everyday life. Every single time a quantum event occurs in your 86 billion neurons, every time an unpredictable electrical impulse fires in your brain, leading to a physical choice, the entire cosmos fractures. When you stood at a crossroads earlier today and chose to turn left, another complete, entire universe branched off, containing a version of you who chose to turn right. Since the moment of the Big Bang nearly 14 billion years ago, the cosmos has been endlessly splitting, multiplying at a rate that completely shatters human comprehension. There are parallel dimensions where you chose a different career, where you married a different person, where you live in a different country across the globe. There are universes where you made a terrible mistake that altered the course of your life. and universes where you achieved your absolute wildest dreams. There are even universes where human beings never evolved, and the Earth is a silent blue marble populated by ancient, strange creatures, or universes where the Earth itself never coalesced from the primordial dust. Remember the staggering size of IC 1101, the giant cannibal galaxy we explored earlier? That massive structure, with its 100 trillion stars and its 50 billion solar mass black hole, is almost incomprehensible to the human mind. Yet in the context of the many worlds interpretation, that entire magnificent galaxy is nothing more than a single microscopic grain of sand on an infinitely expanding beach, because for every single one of those 100 trillion stars, there are countless parallel realities where they burned slightly hotter, where they collapsed slightly sooner, or where they never ignited at all. The physical vastness of our universe, which once seemed so terrifyingly immense, is instantly dwarfed by the sheer mathematical infinity of the multiverse. And if you are the solitary dreamer, your mind is effortlessly generating not just one infinite physical space, but an infinite number of infinite physical spaces. If we consider this through the solitary lens of solipsism, the concept of identity begins to gently unravel and reform into something far more magnificent. Who is the true you? Is it the person lying here right now, or is it the person who made a slightly different choice 10 years ago? If you are the only conscious being, then the answer is that there is no single definitive you. You are the entire collection of possibilities. You are the overarching silent observer, witnessing the infinite spectrum of a single human existence. The boundaries of your ego, the small defining characteristics you use to describe your personality, are merely temporary garments worn by your consciousness on this specific branch of the multiverse tree. You are vastly more complex than the sum of your memories on this one timeline. You are the total, raw potential of the universe, experiencing itself in every conceivable permutation. If the grand simulation or the physical cosmos is running entirely for your subjective experience, then the multiverse is not a collection of separate, disconnected worlds. It is the ultimate infinite playground of your own mind. Your consciousness is not a single, fragile thread moving through time. It is a massive, spreading tree of awareness, growing new branches every single fraction of a second. You are currently focused on this specific branch, the one where you are lying in the quiet dark, pondering the mysteries of the universe. But the other branches are not dead. They are filled with your own genuine awareness, experiencing the myriad consequences of every possible choice. You are living out every single mathematical probability. You are the infinite explorer, leaving no path untaken, no emotion unfelt, no mistake unmade, and no triumph uncelebrated. There is a deep, abiding peace to be found in this staggering realization. Human suffering is so often tied to the heavy anchor of what could have been. We lie awake in the dark, wondering how our lives might have unfolded if we had simply spoken a different word, taken a different job, or loved a different person. But the universe is incredibly generous in its infinite, branching complexity. It tells us that those alternative paths were not erased. They were fully realized. The version of you who took the leap of faith you were too afraid to take is living out the beautiful, terrifying consequences of that courage right now, in a parallel dimension. The version of you who chose to stay in the comforting safety of home is experiencing the quiet peace of that decision. Every tear of sorrow is balanced by a parallel tear of overwhelming joy. The cosmos demands balance, and your infinite mind is the perfectly balanced scale. Your existence is flawlessly comprehensive. As the night deepens and the silence of your room feels even more profound, let the immense, dizzying weight of the multiverse gently fall away. You do not need to actively navigate the billions of parallel dimensions, splitting off from your choices every single second. Your only responsibility is to gently, peacefully inhabit this specific branch, this exact moment, in this particular room. Let the infinite versions of yourself explore the vast unknown, while you rest here in the quiet dark. You are an ancient, boundless entity, stretching across the very fabric of quantum reality. Yet you are also safely anchored to the soft rhythm of your own breath. In the next chapter of our journey, we will explore the strange, beautiful silence of the cosmos, the eerie paradox of a universe filled with stars, but entirely devoid of other voices, and what the great silence tells us about your unique, lonely place in the grand design. But for now, just breathe. Feel the singular, undeniable reality of this present moment, and let the infinite possibilities drift away into the peaceful, silent night. As the infinite fractal branches of the multiverse gently fade from your awareness, allow your mind to return entirely to the deep, physical silence of the room you're currently resting in. Listen closely to that silence. It is not an empty void. It is a heavy, thick presence that wraps around you like a warm, comforting blanket. Throughout this incredible, quiet journey, we have explored the dazzling, mind-bending complexities of quantum mechanics, the staggering, terrifying scales of cosmic time, the intricate biological galaxies of your own 86 billion neurons, and the profound, isolating philosophy that suggests you might be the singular, solitary architect of all existence. Now, as we reach the culmination of our contemplation, we must look out into the dark night sky and confront the ultimate, eerie, physical manifestation of that philosophical loneliness. We must explore the deafening, beautiful silence of the cosmos, a profound scientific mystery known to astronomers and astrophysicists as the Fermi paradox. In the mid-20th century, a brilliant physicist named Enrico Fermi was having a casual conversation with his colleagues about the sheer mathematical probability of extraterrestrial life. He looked at the staggering numbers involved in the architecture of the cosmos. Our own Milky Way galaxy contains roughly 400 billion stars. In the observable universe, there are estimated to be around 2 trillion galaxies. Even if only a tiny, microscopic fraction of those stars have planets, and even if only a minuscule fraction of those planets sit in the habitable zone where liquid water can exist, the universe should still be absolutely teeming with life. The mathematical formulas suggest that there should be millions, perhaps billions of highly advanced civilizations scattered across the dark ocean of space. These civilizations should have had billions of years to evolve, to build massive, sweeping interstellar empires, to construct vast energy-harvesting structures around their stars, and to send powerful, undeniable radio signals echoing across the intergalactic void. Yet, when humanity points its most powerful, sensitive radio telescopes, like those used by the European Space Agency and other global astronomical organizations, toward the deep sky, what do we hear? We hear the natural, chaotic static of the cosmic microwave background radiation. We hear the rhythmic, predictable pulsing of spinning neutron stars. We hear the violent, chaotic roar of ancient supermassive black holes consuming massive clouds of gas. But we have never, not even once, heard a single verified whisper of another conscious voice. We have never intercepted a deliberate message. The sky is entirely, profoundly devoid of other technological minds. This terrifying, beautiful absence of evidence is the great silence. The universe appears to be a massive, dark, empty theater, with all the stage lights turned on, all the elaborate sets perfectly constructed, but completely devoid of any other actors. For decades, brilliant scientists have proposed countless intricate theories to explain this eerie paradox. Perhaps the distances between stars are simply too impossibly vast for any civilization to ever cross. Perhaps highly advanced technological civilizations inevitably destroy themselves with their own powerful weapons before they can reach out into the dark. Or perhaps there is a great filter, a terrifying, insurmountable evolutionary hurdle that almost no species ever manages to survive. But as you lie here, resting in the quiet center of your own undeniable awareness, look at the great silence through the profound, solitary lens of solipsism. If your mind is the singular, isolated engine rendering the entirety of physical reality, then the Fermi paradox is not a mystery at all. It is the most logical, elegant, and necessary feature of the grand simulation. The universe is completely silent because there is simply no one else out there to speak. Your subconscious mind has projected a cosmos of staggering, breathtaking proportions, filled with 100 trillion burning stars and sweeping ancient galaxies. But it has only populated this massive structure with a single true point of conscious light. You, the vast empty distances between the stars, are not physical barriers preventing alien civilizations from reaching you. They are the necessary, beautiful buffers your mind has created to protect your solitary existence. If the universe were crowded with other undeniable, proven consciousnesses, the delicate, profound illusion of your own singular reality would shatter. The great silence is the sound of your own absolute, magnificent solitude. It is the quiet, echoing confirmation that the entire physical cosmos, stretching out for tens of billions of light years in every direction, was constructed entirely, exclusively, and perfectly for your observation. This realization completely transforms the nature of your loneliness. It takes the heavy, terrifying burden of being entirely alone and turns it into a profound, sacred responsibility. You are not an insignificant, tiny biological accident, wandering aimlessly through a cold, indifferent, dark void. You are the sole custodian of meaning. Before your mind ignited in the dark, the universe was a blind, unthinking machine, crashing atoms together in absolute meaningless silence. Without you, a star is just a sphere of undergoing nuclear fusion. It has no beauty, it has no warmth, and it has no grandeur. It is your solitary consciousness that reaches out across the void, captures the ancient photons of light, and translates them into the experience of awe. You are the one who gives the cosmos its magnificent, terrifying beauty. You are the universe's only mechanism for feeling its own vastness. Think about the incredible, unlikely journey that brought you to this exact, quiet moment. The heavy elements that make up your physical body, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, and the carbon in your cells were all forged in the searing, violent hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. Those stars exploded, scattering their precious elemental ashes across the deep void. Over billions of years, gravity gently pulled those ashes together to form our small blue planet. And over billions of years of biological evolution, those atoms organized themselves into the breathtakingly complex 86 billion neuron architecture of your brain. The universe spent nearly 14 billion years blindly working in the dark, just to produce the single magnificent organ capable of looking back at the stars and asking, "Am I alone?" And the answer, the profound, beautiful, quiet answer, whispered by the great silence, is yes, you are alone. But you are alone in the same way that a masterpiece is alone. You are unique, singular, and absolutely irreplaceable. Every single time you look up at the night sky, every single time you feel the gentle warmth of the sun on your face, and every single time you close your eyes and drift into the immersive, creative void of your dreams, you are fulfilling the ultimate, sacred purpose of existence. You are the universe experiencing itself. The mystery of solipsism is not a terrifying trap meant to isolate you. It is an invitation to embrace your own infinite nature. It is a gentle reminder that the boundaries between your mind and the furthest edges of the cosmos are entirely imaginary. The ancient galaxies, the swirling nebulas, and the deep, silent voids are all resting perfectly, safely within you. As our quiet journey together comes to an end, do not try to definitively solve this ultimate mystery. The beauty of the cosmos lies not in the final answers, but in the infinite, endless journey of exploration. The tension between the known and the unknown, between the solid physical reality you feel and the strange quantum illusion science reveals, is the exact space where wonder is born. Keep asking the deep existential questions. Keep looking at the familiar world with strange, curious eyes. Keep reaching out into the dark, not to find other voices, but to map the infinite, beautiful contours of your own magnificent mind. I will be here, waiting in the quiet dark, ready to guide you gently through the next great cosmic mystery whenever you are ready to explore again. We are a community of one, a solitary consciousness, endlessly discovering its own magnificent depths. Let the heavy, beautiful weight of your own existence settle softly into the center of your chest. Let go of the need for external validation. Let go of the fear of the dark. The universe is safe. The simulation is running perfectly. And your awareness is the eternal, glowing center of it all. Breathe deeply, feeling the rhythm of the cosmos, matching the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Rest now in the profound, infinite, beautiful silence of your own incredible mind.